It's another beautiful day, and I just wanted to take a moment to give a little commentary. Before I do so, I just want to give you a little background about myself if you don't know me. I'm Errol Tangestal. I'm a retired Air Force colonel. I served over 23 years in both the Navy and the Air Force combined. I was an aviator by trade. I was a naval aviator first. I flew helicopters. I was a fixed-wing pilot as well as an instructor for the T-6 and T-34. And then I went over to the Air Force to fly the U-2 spy plane. Flew the U-2 spy plane, and in that community for 13 years, I'm also an instructor in the T-38. So I've flown everything from helicopters to fighter jets, trainers. I was an instructor in 3 different aircraft. So with that said, I had to just put that out on the table. And what I want to say, and this is from an aviator perspective in the military, and I think this goes to the civilian community because I have a lot of friends that are in the military that transfer over and fly for the airlines. The standard is the standard. We all have to fly to the standard. That's what we have to do. In our community, we police our own. If a pilot's not flying to the standard, we're going to do 1 or 2 things. We're going to get them retraining until they get it. And if they can't, we're going to find them another line of work. And in the military, we do the same thing. What I love about our community so much is that we hold each other accountable. And if someone has an incident or a mishap, after it's investigated, that pilot will stand in front of their peers and they will talk about it. And they will describe everything from why they did what they did, how they felt, what they did wrong, what they did right, and lessons learned from that. Because in our community, that's how we become stronger. And we're humble about it as those who are holding our pilot brethren accountable because we know at any moment it could be us. We don't look down on them. We don't laugh at them. We may give them a call sign. But that's what we do because we know there are things outside of our control, and sometimes we get dealt a terrible hand when we're flying, and it's not a maintenance issue. It could be a weather issue. It could be a catastrophic failure, and the pilot did everything possible. That's why it's a high-risk job. That's why we don't lower the standards. That's why we practice all the time. That's why we practice emergency procedures. As a community, we do that, and we uphold that. We toe the line because we know the results. But as a community, and I'm speaking to everyone in the aviation community, we know what we go through, and we know how difficult it can be. When external forces judge us and judge the pilot that you're sitting with or the co-pilot that you're sitting with, then you need to shut that down because you know the standard and the requirements. And if you have any doubt of that pilot, you shouldn't because they have the standards. If they're qualified, they're qualified. If they're rusty, talk to them. But what we can't do is have external forces tell us what's going on, and then when you're sitting next to a pilot, have doubts about it because that results in poor cockpit and crew communication. And we don't want that. That's what it could lead to. Anytime I sat with a pilot in the aircraft, I knew their abilities, and I said, well, let's go fly, let's go do the mission. And if anyone on the outside had something to say, I would shut that down. I've seen in the U-2 aircraft people with thousands of hours, and it's a windy day, and all of a sudden it looks like it's their first day in the aircraft. We've all been through it. We've all had not so stellar landings. We've all greased landings. But we don't make fun of people and we don't judge them. Oh, you're this because of X, Y, and Z. Oh, this was a challenging day. So the next time you're in a commercial flight and the winds are rough and they say the weather's bad and the pilot doesn't have such a great landing, just think what it could have been like if he didn't have the standards to be held up against and how that landing really could have been. I love my pilot community. I love my brothers in arms. Don't let anyone on the outside tell you you're less than and tell you you're here because of X, Y, and Z. I've heard it for many years. And I don't know how many times I had to prove to people that I was good at what I did. And I'm still good. You want to sit in the aircraft with me? Anytime. Anyone has any questions? You want to challenge me? Let's go. Pick your aircraft. Helos or jets or props. I'll fly them all. And that's how you should be. I appreciate you listening to me today. We cannot let external forces divide us. We cannot let external forces doubt each other. We know what the standards are. If an airline is looking to broaden the pool of people and look outside into underserved communities where they don't believe it's an option, then that's great. But they still have to hold the standard. When I got into flight training, I still had to hold the standard. And I was way above the standard. Don't get me wrong. Some people see me now and say, Meryl, I knew when you had a bad flight this. Yeah, as a pilot, I would never say all my flights were beautiful and great and perfect. There were days that I was not very good. Don't let these people come in here and tell you that you're not good enough. I appreciate you listening to me today. Read the blog. We got this. Be accountable, hold the standard, and don't let people outside that have no idea what's going on, what it should be.